I am going to be doing veining today. Sorry, my hand is in the way. I'm just going to mount the camera. I was trying to go horizontal, but kept giving me an error. So that's why I'm mounting the camera as I go live. Because, of course, I can't make it professional. My stream can't be professional. Okay, so yesterday we added a base coat to Precious. And today I decided that I'm going to be adding some veins to her. So let me, hold on just another moment. Okay. And yeah, what I'm doing is just going on to my computer so I can see any chat that's happening. Okay. Now the neighbor's dog wants to start barking, so I apologize. Oh, that's because the mail lady is here. And we have a little bit of sun today, so it's a good day to... Hold on, guys. She need me to sign for something. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Hello, Stardust and Moonlight. Thank you for joining. Sorry I was away for a minute, but the mail lady had me sign for a package. And I'm a little bit surprised because this is the hair that I wanted to root on Vito. And I forgot that I had ordered 2 hairs from Etsy. So I'm really curious to see what this hair looks like. However, I do not dare open this package. This one came from Russia, so it took forever to arrive. I'm just putting on some gloves so that we can start. Okay, I keep trying to change the orientation. I keep getting the error. So yesterday, I rooted the front using this. Let's see, right here. Can we see it? Yeah, right here. And so it cured, and then you can just kind of peel it off like that. And you can actually reuse these cups. See? And there's the silicone. And it takes a couple of hours. So if you want to, I mean, not saying that this is a tutorial, but if someone wanted to test if their kit should be cured, if what's in the cup is cured, then it means the kit should be cured as well. I'm just going to get some paper towels. I know she is up kind of high today, meaning that she's closer to the camera, so I hope everybody can see. Okay, I'm just going to wipe this out. Actually, I don't know if I want to make the blue. Yeah, let's go ahead and make the blue in this, because I can make it in a thinner well, so you don't use that much blue. But depending, I should be able to do front and back. And what I was saying yesterday, if you were here yesterday and watched when I did the base coat, I said that I would only do the front of Precious. And what you kind of want to do is get out any silicone balls. So I'm just going to take my alcohol. And the alcohol is just because, I mean, it could just been water and it would have been fine. I'm just making sure that I've cleaned off all of the residual silicone. Okay, so you're going to need part A and part B. I like to start with A always. Doesn't say you have to start with one over the other, although a lot of silicone will ask you to mix your pigment in with A. Okay, equal parts A and B. So mix your pigment. They'll tell you to mix your pigment with A, and then there's a little more. Go in and add your B. But let me be honest with you, I prefer to, yeah, the stick has been used. I prefer to add both A and B together. She's going to be our little stool. I am using Silk Pig pigments. Like Stardust and Moonlight says, I'm inspiring her to paint. I'm happy because, you know, at first I was watching other painters and, you know, I didn't have any notion that I was going to be painting initially. But then after watching other people, I'm like, you know, I feel like I want to try my hand at it. And, I mean, it took, I'm not saying that I was perfect, you know, when I first started, but I still had fun along the way. So this is the Silk Pig that I'm using. Silk Pig Blue. Okay. Now, I'm wearing latex-free gloves. And just a little bit. This is even too much. So just a little dab of doer. Okay. And put this down. Use our coffee stick to get everything mixed well. And blue is a color that stains very well. So you're going to want to not make it very dark. So, I mean, I may be coming back and adding a lot more A and B, but we will see. And it's not as thin as I want it. So another splash. Yeah, I want to thank you all for coming by and watching the series. I kind of thought that I would probably do more on, not live, but just film it, which will make it go a little faster, but it don't take that much more time to just, you know, turn on the camera and talk to you guys a little bit. All right, so let us begin with, pardon me, the palm of her hands. And I did cover her, but just the few minutes that she was uncovered, I'm gonna put this down here. And that, look, I got her on a cake, little swivel cake thing. So That way I can move around without tearing my, yesterday I tore the doggy pad. Okay, so, we're gonna use this cosmetic wedge, and we are going to also use this little inexpensive brush. Now I'm going to, let's put this over here. Put a little bit on her palms, because newborn babies a lot of times will have kind of like a shadow, what looks like a bruise. And she's kind of a pale baby, so I don't want to do too much. Thank you for enjoying this live. Sorry about my dog barking. Actually, that's not even my dog. That's our next door neighbor dog. Actually, that might be my dog, to be honest with you. I think that is. All right, so I'm just kind of getting some of that off. I may use, either a wedge or a sponge. I'm thinking a sponge. I have these little yellow art sponges like this, and it's good for not taking away too much pigment, which I feel like that cosmetic wedge is taking away too much pigment. Okay, so back to the paint, which I put under here where you can't see because I wasn't able to put this on horizontal. I had to keep it on vertical. It kept giving me an error every time I tried to put the screen on vertical. But I don't think it matters too much. There. And I don't want her to look like, you know, she got beat up or anything like that. So we don't want to overdo it, but I do want the shadow to show. Same for the other hand. Get the little trusty tweezers out because I see a teeny bit of hair. And we will put that bruise or that lack of oxygen. That's what I think somebody said in another live, which is why the baby's feet. Why do the baby's feet have that blue spot in the center? And they said because they don't stand yet, the blood didn't have an opportunity to travel there. Okay, so we did that. Now we're going to do the foot, center of the foot. And again, for anybody who might be coming into the live and saying, what is she doing to that baby? This is actually a doll, a reborn doll. And I'm just painting it to make it look as realistically like a real baby as possible. Okay. Also, let's get under here a little bit, just like a little shadow. She's gonna be a fair-skinned baby, so I don't want to overdo it with the blue. And it kind of leads out to that arch. So not overdoing it. There we go. And then we'll take our brush and we'll just add a little bit under the toes again. I see some more hair. There we go. All right. Another place where we can really put a little bit of shading is down the center of the baby. And across this. And then around the belly button. And then we'll just dab out so it doesn't look like a line. Just looks like just a hint of color. Same thing about under here. Okay, now I know you can't really see, but she has a cleft here, and I want to get into her collar area. Just very faintly. Okay, let's see, I think I should be able to, let's put this. And that's just gonna, oops, I dropped it, a pigment. Let's put this under her head. Hold it up a little bit. There we go. I think that helps. All right, under her lips. Try not to get it on her lips, but just under. A little bit right here. And around her nose. A little bit across here. I know it doesn't look like there's very much, but she will have some modeling, and I don't want to, like, I can do blue modeling, in other words. Oh, just getting this little bit, this little speck off is like proving to be very difficult. There we go. Okay, also make sure she's on her platform well. Okay. Um, under her eyes. Under her eyes. Let's increase this a little bit more. I got this sponge off of this is like, they call it a craft sponge, but I got this from Amazon, where I get a lot of my material from Amazon. A little bit deeper under her eyes. It's a little bit deeper, and maybe in the corners a little bit. Also, I look at pictures of babies, so you know, I am going by what I would typically see on a baby, where the shadows would fall. Here's another place where I would typically see a shadow. It's in the hollow of her temple. Especially with little ones, newborns. And she, even though she's a big baby, she is a newborn size. This is the Precious Kit, sculpted by Laurie Sullivan Roy. And she is like close to 20 inches if she's not 20 inches. So very close to 20 inches. And she's a heavy baby. I don't remember exactly. I keep saying I'm going to pull up the stats, and I keep forgetting to do so. But you can find her on Irresistibles. Like, I got a little spot right here. That's one thing you really want to try not to do, is to let your paint spill. I don't mind it so bad that it got on the crease there, but it went right on that crease. And you can take some alcohol and you might be able to get most of it out. All right, now we're going to work on her ears. Let's do the far ear. Can you guys still see her if I turn her this way? Yeah, she's still in there. And just a little dab around the crease of her ear. I can get a smaller, oops, I dropped her head prop. I think that's good. Let's just kind of wipe that off a little bit. Maybe she has a little bit of a shadow here. Just a little bit. I knew something dropped. That was my sponge. That's fine. We'll just get another one. Hi, everyone. Hi, Orange. NLSA. How are you? Charlie's Babies Nurseries, thank you for answering questions for me, because sometimes when I'm just, you know, looking at the baby and concentrating on the baby, I don't always see the questions. But yes, I am painting a silicone doll to look like a realistic baby, as realistic as possible. So these are realistic, ultra realistic art dolls, which sometimes they are also called Reborn dolls. So right now we are reborning a kit which is called the Precious Kit. Yeah, so it's a silicone doll, and you use special silicone paint. So the technique that we're doing right now is we're just adding veins and shadows. So right now I'm just doing some shadows on the baby, and then in a moment, and she's going to be a fair skin baby, so I'm kind of not going as deep as I could go with her shadows. but I do kind of think I want to go a little bit more here on her temple. And then what you do, because it's silicone paint, you apply the pigment and then you dab it off. And then you'll see me using these tweezers a lot because silicone paint attracts a lot of dust and lint. So it's almost, I mean, literally irritating. Literally irritating how often you have to pick up those tweezers. Honestly, it becomes an unconscious thing. You know, you're just unconsciously doing that. I'll move the baby a little bit so I can get it better in shot. Okay, so I think I'm comfortable. Let's just move some things out the way so I can turn her. I think I'm comfortable with the way her face looks. So let's try to get, I'm gonna try to move this camera a little bit closer. There we go. Then we'll start working on veins. So a lot of times I know that people think that just because you're doing veins on a baby, that the veins have to be super skinny, and they don't. In fact, a number 2 brush, I know that this doesn't have a number on it, but I would say that this is a number 2 brush. So a number 2 brush would be the perfect size. I hope you can see that. Okay, now what I just did is I took a little bit of solvent. The solvent that I've chosen to use, this is just to thin out the paint in my paintbrush so that when I'm dabbing it onto the baby, it's not too thick. Okay. A baby's head is segmented like this. Then it comes forward. Then you might have a little bit that goes down and over. You might also have a vein that goes from the eye and up there. It feels a little bit too thick, so I'm just going to take this and just kind of rub a little bit of that off and then dab it. This is one of the single most important things that give realism to the baby or to the doll. And remember, we are painting the doll to look like a baby. Okay, we're going to do segmented. The head is segmented. And then we'll have a vein that goes behind the ear. We'll thin it out a little bit. Not too much. there might be times when you want to have spider veins, like perhaps on the eyelids, but this is not where you're gonna have that. Oh, we got out of frame, didn't we? Oh. See if we're back in frame. A little bit more. I love watching these too. In fact, let's see, bring it closer or further. Yeah, a little bit closer. These are so relaxing to me, especially if you're watching a doll artist that has done this before and they feel pretty comfortable, you know, with doing this. She's gonna have hair, so I don't want to give her too much veins on her head. Let's see. But I feel like there might be some behind her neck, so we'll do that. Like, start from this cranium. She has a big old head. Well, I shouldn't say she has a big head. It's just very rocky. Okay, now we're going to, oops. Now we're going to add behind the ears a little bit. I keep having to move my paints because I keep moving the baby. Let's just do some right here and some maybe like this. And maybe the other side of her body. Oh, let's turn her around. Man, I keep dropping my sponges. When I drop my sponges, they fall in a basket because I have a basket right beneath my workstation. Okay, so happy I turned her. I see where I didn't dab enough. A lot of silicone there we go. A lot of lint. So I do have a rug in here. And when I tell you that silicone attracts, it is like a magnet. In one of my videos on my channel, I show where you can actually see the lint. I'm trying to move her a little bit out. Because I'm sorry, the way my camera is set up, it's out of my reach. So let me get a little situated before I start painting again so that everybody can see. There we go. Okay. And we have her at least in frame. There. Welcome back, Orange and LSA. Okay. Now we are gonna add some behind her ear. Like that. And like this. Thin it out a little bit. There. She's kicking everything over. Okay, what I'm taking now is a toothpick because I want to work on her eyelashes while I have her over here. And just kind of moving some paints around. Sorry, guys. Give me one moment to get things out of the way. And I'm just cleaning off a brush that got some paint, some pigment on it. And I'm gonna have to change out a glove because I got a bunch of blue paint on it. So give me just another moment. And then I'll start doing her, let's see, we'll do this. We'll change this out too. The one thing about the blue paint and the red paint, oh my goodness, they will stain your baby if your hands have it on there, and it's hard to get it off. So I have like these gloves, powder-free, latex-free gloves by the hundreds. And then I'm not like the same thing with the paper towels. I am not trying to worry about how many I use, because it's more important to waste 99-cent container of paper towels than a $2,000 kit. And that's how much this blank kit was, $2,000. So a lot of times when people say like, ooh, why do they cost so much? Well, this particular kit was hand sculpted by an actual Reborn artist, where sometimes a lot of babies, they're scanned. I'm just cleaning off my tweezers. But a lot of babies are scanned, which is perfectly fine because I love a scanned Reborn, which is scanned from a real baby. And every little crease and every muscle and you know, is perfectly representative of a actual live baby. You can get those babies from Reborn, Bountiful Baby. But a kit like this or sculpt like this is actually sculpted by a human person's hands. So it makes it a lot less realistic. But when you think about the things that you like about the baby, it is so amazing how they capture so much, how they're able to capture so much of this, of a realistic baby just by sculpting. So I'm just using a cute, toothpick, pardon me, to make tiny spider veins along her eyelids. So you got to use whatever means necessary sometimes to make the kit to look as realistically painted as possible. One more. Dab it, so I'm making it very thin, so I'm dabbing it in my paint mixture, and then I am using my solvent, Bob Ross again, solvent. There we go. What do y'all think? Can you even see it? I don't even know if you can see this, but I'm afraid to go any, closer because this is only, doesn't allow me too much space to go in and out. All right, let's do the other eye. Then I use the other side of the toothpick to make it thinner. I'm just kind of wiping off the excess until it's like a thin vein. I don't think we'll do as many on this eye. Maybe just one right here. Maybe a little bit longer. And then just make it thinner. There we go. And then I'm just going to use this to lighten it a little bit. And I feel like she could use a vein coming from this eye, the corner of this eye. Like maybe like this. And then up. And then maybe one that, yeah, like that. And then just kind of dab it away. I don't know if you can see. Okay, I'm going to bring it back out so that we can put some veins in her body. Okay. And we'll center her again. Maybe turn her this way. There we go. And get her centered on her board. I have a little board underneath the cake pan. And that way it kind of stretches her out. So after I do her body, I can probably end this live. I'll do the back. Let's see. I got a little bit on her leg. Here, I'll show you. I have a little bit right here. So we just kind of spray it with the alcohol. See if we can rub it out. Yeah, and it came out. So yeah, if you catch it in time, you can address stains and stuff. Also, if your baby feels sticky, like this one doesn't, surprisingly, you can spray her down with some alcohol. Doesn't hurt. Once this paint is cured, that is. It doesn't hurt to do that. Oh, dog barking again. My apologies. Let's get her head propped up again. And there are some places. Let's do this first. There are some places on the back of the hands that have really prominent veins. Like that looks like blue. Let's kind of get that off. That's my fault. When I was spinning her around, she got in the blue. Oh, look. Remember what I was telling y'all? Your gloves. your gloves can contaminate the kit. So I got blue on her, so we're going to clean that off as quickly as possible. Get a clean paper towel. Alright, so we got blue down here. You're like, Pepper, what in the world, girl, was you doing? What was you doing to that baby? Got all that blue paint on her. Okay, then let's get her side of her hand. There we got it. We got it in time. Let's go around and look at and make sure there's not other parts that may have gotten in contact with the blue paint. Okay, so let's get that. Another paper towel. We're gonna be through this roll before this live stream is over at the rate I'm going. And you can also rinse her off. This arm looks good. Her head looks good. Her feet look good. Her legs look good. Anybody see anything? You know, because sometimes I can't always see, and the audience can see things that I can't see sometimes. So if y'all see anything, put it in the chat. That looks like I need to wipe it off. I need to clean off these tweezers too, because it's got blue pigment on the tweezers. All right. So let's put this diaper back on the baby, because I don't have to do anything on her little private areas. And then that way I don't have to keep worrying about this paper towel falling off. The reason that I am putting a diaper on a doll before she's painted is because, I put it on backwards. Is because when you monetize a video, they actually limit the monetization if they find it offensive. And I think there are people out there that think nude dolls can be offensive. But I would think that those people wouldn't be watching this live anyway. But if you are one of those people, that's why we're covering her up. Okay, so we're going to start with her hand. And you know what? On this, I do need to get a smaller brush. How small? Probably, and I get the cheapest brushes that I can from, this looks about the same. I guess we'll go with this one. The cheapest one from Amazon that I can get. Honestly, I try not to go too much with paintbrushes that don't last that long. They really don't. With silicone paint, they are just not going to last long. I don't have a glove on this hand, but hopefully I don't need to touch her too much with this hand, other than to brace myself. All right, so there is a vein that goes down like this. On a newborn, it really does just go, like, honestly, just straight. Let's bring her in a little bit further. There we go. And then we're just going to lighten it a little bit. I want this one to be a little prominent. Okay, so there it is. It's a little prominent. The back of the hands, we have a vein that goes, well, it does go from this finger and then kind of down. Same thing with this finger, and they kind of join. Same thing with this finger. Not necessarily so much on the pinky finger. And then maybe like this. From the thumb and also over. Okay. So mine is kind of curved to the side, and I have the veins here. You can see how the veins came down here. So also look at your own hands. That's what I do. I have some veins that are here that are pretty prominent on the inside. So we'll add that. Honestly, this is where I should be going with the bigger brush. And then just kind of flare out. Also, the forearm has some. Use the bigger brush. I'm just kind of thinning it out a little bit, the paint. So we have that one here. Let's go with this one like this. And there's one on the shoulder. So There actually is a shadow right here. Let's go ahead and add that shadow here. You guys have that shadow? It's hard to see. It's hard to see on the adults, but it's there on the baby, I promise. Let's do the other hand. Yeah, we're pretty much in frame. Okay, so we're going to use the skinnier needle, the skinnier paintbrush, and we're going to go down to the pointy finger, the index, and go like that. Sweep it to the side. Meet it. I hope you guys can see. I know, I feel like it's like super far away when you see it on the camera. But looking at it in person, I can see it pretty prominently. And we'll do this one down here. Kind of flare out a little bit. And then dab it out. So she's fair skinned, and I don't mind that, you know, her skin is a little translucent there, but this is where I think it's really going to be translucent on the back of her, like on the inside of her wrist. So I don't mind if it's a little bit more blue here. And I'm going to just make this one a short one. Follow the line of the, like if you see a crease, don't just make a straight line over the crease. Okay. Hello, Doris. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to part 3. We skipped over modeling and went right to blushing. I mean, right to shadows and veins. Well, I'll tell you the rationale behind that. A lot of people will do like the red tint first. I don't necessarily think that there is a wrong order. I'm used to doing ethnic dolls, so dolls with brown on them. I got a little bit of paint here. So a lot of the veins are hidden under the brown paint, so I usually do that last, one of the last things I do. But since we're doing a pale baby who is fair skinned, we are going to kind of change things up. And that means if I overdo it with these veins and these shadows, I can cover it with the modeling. Did I wipe off these veins? These veins look like they disappeared. Let's put them back on there. I may have taken too much off. See, that's another thing. When I touch it with my glove, because I don't see it anymore. Then we'll try not to touch it anymore. Which means that the underside might have come off. So we'll just look at the underside once more. The underside did come off. Try not to touch too much. Do that underside again. And let's see, I think I wanted to do it over here in this direction. And then this short one here. Yeah. And I feel like her veins will be more prominent on the, like I said before, underside. So I'm not going to take as much off. I want it to be a little brighter. All right. Let's not touch too much. Let's check this one real quick. Let's deepen it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like right in here. And then let's use her thumb to kind of hold her in place. Let's see, bring her over here a little bit. And then add that vein back in. Her super soft silicone, say that 3 times, it makes it hard to hold her and not remove paint. So that's why we had to come back a little bit. All right, we'll leave her alone for now. We'll leave those parts alone for now. Let's go back over here. Just grabbing her finger. Try so hard not to pull the fingers off. But we want to do one here and one here. Okay. We also, I need to go in and do her feet, because the same thing that we did to her hands, we actually need to do to her feet. So let's reposition Precious so we can get her bottom half. Oops. She got some blue paint on the back of her feet. Let's wipe that off. I got some on my glove, so I'm gonna have to change the glove again. You can also do this. Okay. I think that's good. Let's make sure, yeah. All right, let's get you centered, little lady. Okay, a little bit more. Thank goodness for the isopropyl alcohol. This is 99% isopropyl. Thank goodness for it, y'all. All right, so there are veins that go across the top of her foot like that. We'll just make a squiggle. And this is so much like what we did to the hands. But this time we're only going to do the first two. And then just kind of dab it. There is a shadow right here. And a shadow right here. And a vein that goes, let's use the thick one. A vein that goes up like this. Like that. I think the sponge is getting too much pigment on it. So let's get a new sponge, and I'll throw these to the side. They'll be okay tomorrow. Oh my gosh, y'all. When I touched the bag with the sponges in it, it had paint on it. So I had to throw the bag with the sponges in it away. And I got some more on the little baby. Okay. There. Hi Gladys, how are you? We are painting Precious Reborn, full body silicone, and this is our third day. First day was we prepped, which means that we just kind of cleaned up the kit. If there was any marks on it that needed to be filled in, we did that. The second day we added a base coat, which was just the flesh color. And then today we are adding blue, so we're doing shading. If I were to get blue on this baby that alcohol did not rub out, I would take more flesh tone and I would cover it. And that's if I had like a little spot. Otherwise, if I felt like it could be modeled, what it would look like, a little modeling, you know, something like that, I would be fine with that. Okay, so let's do this other foot, which I think the foot is going pretty fast. The leg, I should say, the legs are going pretty fast. Okay. And the silicone is starting to cure, so that's why you see me mixing it with the thinner, the paint thinner. So I put a little bit of paint thinner in here, and then I go back and I just kind of use it to thin out. Did y'all see that fly just fly past the past the screen? I got a little bit of blue here. Let's get a fresh paper towel. we had I had a little issue where I had my blue stir stick was on my workstation. I didn't throw it out the way I should have. And so I got blue pigment on some items that touched the baby. So now I have to come back and clean that off for anybody who is kind of like, what is she doing? Let's start that part over since I got this over here. Okay, we're going to do that part over. All right, let's see. Let's get her, make sure she's in shot. All right, this is better. This is a better position. All right, so we take some pigment and thin it out a little bit. And then I'm going to start with her big toe, I think. And this, make a squiggle line. And then I want to connect it to the second toe. And then I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to do any more toes. Dab it. And we'll do this. And then we'll kind of like that. I accidentally used the thin brush. So I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. On her toes, I don't mind if the veins are a little on the thinner side, but when it comes to her skin, I think it looks better with the bigger veins, so the bigger brush. And we'll do this shadow here. Try not to touch. I don't want to rub it off like I did before. Because I had to go back and redo some veins. There is a shadow here. I don't think I did that one. There's a shadow here. Let's make this one a little prominent. Okay, so now let's just do some quick veins on her body. So we already did the shadow here. Then off camera, I'll do like shadows on her groin and stuff like that. So babies do have a pretty prominent vein. It would go like, well, I'll do that shadow in a minute. It would go like this. That's a long vein. I don't know if y'all can see that. And then there are some half circle veins. Like that. And I'm going to get her turned one more time. I have to stand up every time I turn her so I can look into the camera. So yeah, perfect. Oops. And it's kind of thinning out the paint a little bit. So we're going to do maybe another long vein like right there. Okay, baby girl, you got a vein that come up by your neck like that. And you also have one that comes across this side of your chest, but you don't see it as much across that breast area, but you would see it here. So we just rub it out a little bit more. Okay, so we need that shadow here. There. And that is basically the shadows that we're going to do. There'll be more shadows. I shouldn't say shadows, but there'll be more indication on creasing, but we don't need to make those into shadows. The creasing will take care of everything. I'll do more maybe on her tummy, but yeah, when I do that on her tummy, I'm going to do that off camera where I can take off her diaper. So, okay guys, so that is it for now. Let's get a little close up before I bid you guys goodbye. And we'll get a close up of her face. So we got little parts in her eyes and behind her ears and her temples. We have a little bit of veining segmentation. Okay. And then we have, let's look at this hand. Try not to touch too much. We have shadow in her palm, veins in the back, underside of her wrist, by her thumb. All right, let's look at this one. Faint veining here. It's not as prominent, but you can still see it. Back of her hand. What do y'all think of this vein under her neck? I really like that one. And then we have some veining on her torso. We can bring it out a little bit so you can see that. Here's veining on her foot. It's a little bit on the bottom of her feet. And we got some toe damage here, but I can wipe that off, probably off camera. So I'm not going to bore y'all with me cleaning off her toes. But I will say goodbye, and I appreciate you guys for showing up, and I'll try to come back tomorrow and do some modeling probably about the same time. So once again, thank you guys. See you later.